Hey guys! So today we are reviewing the full ColourPop X Pokémon collection. Now I don't know if you can tell, but I am a massive Pokémon fan. I have been since I was little. Low-key been addicted to it. I watched the show, I got a Nintendo just to play the games, played Pokémon Go, currently play Pokémon Unite. It's just a love that never ends. Back there I have my plushies, Charmander and Pikachu, which my boyfriend gave them both to me, and also a little Pikachu LED light. So cute. So naturally, when ColourPop came out with a fully Pokemon collection, I just knew I needed to get everything. Even if I didn't have a channel, I would still get everything because everything is just so cute. But is it worth the money? That's what we're gonna find out today. Also, if you notice anything weird on my chest, I just want to say that I went to Greece and I got the worst sunburn of my life. It was a lot worse, but right now it just looks like I got a bad spray tan. That's not it at all, so if you notice it, please ignore it. Also, I recently got this cute iPhone case and lanyard, which is Pokemon themed. It was from a shop called Skinny Dip, and I'm gonna link it down below in case you're interested. But yeah, I really like it. Okay, now let's dive into the makeup. First up, we have the Eurocatch Berry Lip Mask. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge the packaging because I feel like it was very well made. It looks very well thought out and it's very interesting. Here's a close-up of the packaging. And here's the little lip mask. It quite literally looks like a Pokeball. I am so excited. I'm melting with the cuteness. This makes me so happy. So you open this up and here is the lip mask on the inside. Now I know this may sound weird and I know that this is a berry lip mask, but to be honest, this smells like the oats that I used to eat when I was a kid. I don't know why. It doesn't smell bad, but it just smells like cereal. I don't know if that's their intent, but it brings back childhood memories, I guess. Going to take a little bit and put it on my lips. It smells very faintly now, but my lips feel hydrated. It quite literally feels like a normal lip balm. Doesn't have anything special to it but the packaging. But for the simple fact that it's in the shape of a Pokeball, I like it a lot more. I don't think I want to use it up actually, because then I'll just be keeping an empty container. So here's a swatch of it for you. As you can probably see, it's completely clear. It just has a few glitter specks. Can't get over the smell though. Very strong start though. So next up we have the little blushes. So first up we have the shade Metronome and it has a cleavable on the packaging. On the inside it's got a pink theme with all pink Pokemon. There's Mew, there's Lickitung, there's Clefairy, there's Wigglytuff. I'm not going to be naming all the Pokemon, otherwise we're going to be here forever, but I know all the names of these. So shade-wise, this is literally a pink blush. It matches all the Pokemon in the packaging. The formula seems to be matte, and it's a cream. Here's a swatch of Metronome. It's a very subtle blush with one coat each. Let me see if I can build it up. So it builds up nicely. This is it with 2 coats. Since it's a cream, it's got a bit of a glossy finish, but I'm guessing once you put it on the face and then put powder on top of it, it's just going to be matte. Next up, we have the shade Electroball. And in the packaging, it's got our trusty friend, Pikachu. I'm not saying Pikachu is my favorite. I have a bunch of favorites. Pikachu is among them, but it's not my favorite. But I feel like Pikachu just represents Pokemon so well. And inside, you just have Pikachu in all kinds of different poses. It's so cute. And the blush color is a vibrant red to match his little cheeks. Looks so pretty, I really don't want to swatch it, but I have to, right? And here is a swatch of Electroball. Again, it looks good with one coat, but I'm gonna build it up just a little bit. And here it is with 2 coats. It's super vibrant, but it's also really sheer, so I don't think you're gonna have a problem applying this to your face. As you can see, it also blends really well, so it's not a scary color. And lastly, for the blushes, we have the shade Hypnotize, with Gengar on the front packaging. Inside we have all the purple themed Pokemon. Few of the Pokemon are Nidoran, Butterfree, Mewtwo. And here is a swatch of Hypnosis. Here's what it looks like with one coat. And here it is with 2 coats. It's very pretty and I feel like it's a shade that would work for a lot of people. It also blends out really nicely like the red, so there's no need to be scared. Here it is sheared out. I really like this color. Might be the one I end up using, but we'll see. Next up, let's take a look at the PH lip balms that made everyone crazy. Again, the packaging is so cute. First up, this is the shade Sing, and it's got Jigglypuff on the cover. I love pink anything, so this one really calls for me. Gonna open this one in slow motion. Oh my gosh, just look at how it sparkles. The packaging also has a couple Jigglypuffs. It's so pretty, I don't even want to swatch it. But I'm going to. So here's a swatch of the shade Sing. A few of the glitter flecks have already come out, and you can tell that there's a slight pink shade. Now, as you may know, pH lip balms react with your pH, which means that all of these, even though the colors are different, are all gonna look pretty much the same on the skin. And am I gonna still swatch them all? Yes. Next up, this is the shade Transform, and it's got Ditto on the cover. This one reminds me of the Detective Pikachu movie that I've watched 500 times by now. Ditto is a somewhat big part of it. If you're Pokemon fans and you haven't watched it, please go, because you're gonna love it. The packaging of this one just has a couple Dittos going through some emotions. One is happy and one looks scared. Here is a close-up of this one. Again, super pretty. I don't want to stop staring at this. It's the second swatch right here. Again, there's not much of a point in showing you the swatches. It's all gonna look the same, but here it is. And lastly, we have Thunderbolt for Pikachu. And here's the inside packaging. Pikachu looks really happy. This is how it looks like on the inside. It's got a little tint of yellow. All of these were tinted, but not by much. And the bottom one here is a swatch of Thunderbolt. The reason why they look different right now is because the first one had time to develop. The middle one is still kind of developing, and the third one is just starting. But again, they are just gonna look the same. And I just realized that this has now tinted my hand, so I'm gonna have to swatch elsewhere. Okay, next we have the Evolution Ultra Glossy Lip Trio, or Evolutions as us fans call it. This first one is the shade Thunderstone for Jolteon, yellow with green and orange specks. I'm guessing it's not gonna have a base, but it's still gonna look pretty. Here's a little applicator, it's just a standard doe foot. I like these because they don't put too much product on your lips. I appreciate that. Here's a swatch of the gloss for you. It is so sparkly. Does not have a base as I suspected, but you can put this on top of anything and it'll look pretty. Next up we have Firestone for Flareon. This one just looks straight up orange with some gold flecks. And the second one is the swatch of Firestone. The Thunderstone one has a lot more dimension going on. The Firestone one is just yellow and orange, but it's still really pretty. And this last one is the shade Waterstone for Vaporeon. It looks a lot less sparkly than the other ones, but it's got a purple bluey tint. And the last one is a shade of Waterstone. It's a lot less reflective, but it's got a purpley bluey tint, and it looks cool when it catches the light. I would have loved to have seen all the evolutions, but this is a nice start. Next we have the 3 Super Shock Shadows with the first 3 starters ever. This first one is my personal favorite and also the one I always choose, which is Charmander. And it's in the shade Flamethrower. I love Charmander so much that most of the time in Pokemon Unite, I always play with Charizard. We're just buddies, you know what I mean? And I do mean that literally. He's literally my buddy in Pokemon Unite. And here is a swatch of Flamethrower. It is such a pretty shade. It's got specks of blue, purple, orange, pink. It would look so cool in a nude look, just being the center shade. In this one we have Bulbasaur on the packaging, and this is the shade Solar Beam. This one is also quite a lot softer than the first shade. I nearly destroyed the pan by accident. And here is the shade of Solar Beam. It is so intense and so reflective. From what I can see, it's mostly silver, blue, and pink specks. It makes me want to slather this all over my eyes. And for last, we have Squirtle. And this is the shade Hydro Pump. This one just straight up looks like the sea. Ooh, and it's also really soft. And here is a swatch of Solar Beam. I honestly feel like all of them really stand out on their own. There's not one color that's prettier than the other. I would wear all 3 shades. These 2 need to be used very carefully though because they're very soft. It must have something to do with the pigment, but that's just a little side note. I'm very happy with them. And lastly, we have what I'm always mostly excited for, the palette. Here's the front of the cardboard packaging. The back has all the shades. And when you open it up, this is what the front looks like. And it's got the same shade illustration on the back, which means that you could probably just throw the carton out. I'm not gonna do that, but that's just because I can't. I always want to keep the packaging of things that I'm a fan of. Like Harry Potter, Pokemon, Twilight, I've kept all the packaging. So inside we've got so many different Pokemon from Gen 1. All of the Pokemon used have been from Gen 1, by the way, in case you don't know. So I feel like they could also expand to later generations. This could be a never-ending collaboration between ColourPop and Pokemon because new gens are constantly coming out. Not as much as they used to, but like every 3 years. They could do this forever, and I'm pretty sure that people like me would buy it over and over again. But it's totally fine if they just stick to Gen 1. This has been fun anyway. And here are all the colors on the inside. It is so pretty. It looks like a rainbow. I honestly expected nothing less. The fun thing about the Pokemon world is that it's full of color. So naturally, if they did a new palette, I'm pretty sure that most people would have been like, what the hell? So I'm glad they didn't. These 2 shades specifically are calling my name. Obviously, I want to try as many shades as I can, so we're going for a rainbow look today. I really enjoyed how the palette swatched. It was really easy. I didn't have to build it up much. I did only 2 coats on most of the rows. The purple and the blues were really quite splotchy, so I did have to go over them a couple of times, but besides that, I saw no issues. Everything turned out well in the end. And it has a lot of different types of formulas, which to me means it's very versatile. Also, I want to acknowledge that this palette is called Palette Town. I really thought of everything, which I'm guessing is a node to all the towns in Gen 1. It's the little details for me, it really is. Also, the names of the shades were very well thought out. You've got Evolution, Celadon City, Jelly Donut. In case you don't know, you should research that one. Gym Leader, Fossil, Elite Four, Cerulean City, Tallgrass, Blasting Off, Pokemon Center, Vermilion City, Saffron City, SSN, Viridian City, Lavender Town, Fuchsia City, I Choose You, Champion, Indigo League, Fainted, Drying Pan, Peter City, Cinnabar Island, Trainer's Path. Oh my gosh. ColourPop, this is why I love you guys. This is why. Kinda wanna cry with happy tears. But now that we've seen everything, you know what happens next. Let's put all these on my face. Okay, so I have prepped my eyes first, and I'm gonna start with them in case there's any fallout. I am firstly gonna take the little palette. I'm firstly dipping into the shade Pokemon Center, and I'm gonna place it on my inner corner. I'm not focusing on blending right now, just depositing the color. Next up, I'm taking the shade Lavender Town, and I'm placing it next to the pink. I've noticed through the swatches that this purple takes a while to build up, but as long as we get there, it's okay. Next up, I'm taking the shade Cerulean City, and I'm placing it next to the purple. I don't know if you can tell, but this shade is a lot more pigmented than the purple. And on the outer corner, I'm adding the shade Tallgrass. It is also super pigmented. To blend out the very edges, I'm gonna take a smidge of the shade Fossil, kicking back the excess, and I'm just blending the edges just so it's not as harsh. I like it so far. So because I want to try as many colors as possible, I'm gonna have to cover some of this up, but I'm gonna try as many as I can. So I'm now going to take a flat brush, and I'm gonna try to pick up the shade Gym Leader. Yeah, not a lot is picking up, but I expected that. I got some on there. It takes a while to be picked up by the brush because this is a formula between glitter and shadow. Not necessarily the creamiest, but also not just straight up glitter. I've only tried this formula once before, but it's a good one. So I'm gonna be very specific on where I put the shadow, and I'm gonna focus it on the inner corner. Ooh, it's so pretty. I really like it. I'm just bringing it a little bit backwards. Oh, this glitter. I love this shade. So on the outer corner, I'm gonna be taking the shade Gym Leader, which feels like the same formula as the previous one. And I'm gonna start building it up on the outer corner, and I'm just adding whatever's left on the very outer edge. This was an accidental pastel look that I actually really love. So this is it for the upper eyelid. I'm gonna finish the rest of it off camera, do my face, and then we're gonna continue with the bottom lid. Alright, I've done my foundation, but before we go back to the eyes, I just want to add the blush real quick so that I can set my face. The one that I'm going with is the shade Hypnosis. I'm just gonna add it onto my foundation sponge. I think this is enough. And I'm gonna start by placing it on the apples of my cheeks. It's so pigmented. I'm just gonna add it on both sides because if I keep blending that side, I'm gonna look like a clown. I was a little bit worried there, I'm not gonna lie. it looked so intense at first, but now I think it looks like quite a nice shade. Really goes with the eye look. Okay, I'm gonna go set my face and add bronzer real quick. So now circling back to the eyes. On my very inner corner, I'm taking the shade Fuchsia City, just on this little bit here. So now I'm taking the shade Fuchsia City and I'm running it through the bottom lash line. Finally, I'm adding a little bit of I Choose You on the very outer edge. So I've added some mascara and some eyeliner, and I hadn't done eyeliner in ages, so I feel like they're definitely not sisters, they're more like cousins. For highlighter, I think I'm still going to attempt to use the shade Jelly Donut. Hopefully it's not too dusty. Oh yeah, it works really well. A little bit on my nose and the temples. I love using eyeshadow as highlighter. I feel like it always looks nice. Finally, we're moving on to the lips. Firstly, I'm gonna go with the Ditto PH Lip Balm. You can immediately tell there's a tint to this. The color looks cute now, but let's wait to see what it turns into. Okay, so it's been on for a couple minutes and I feel like this is the true color of the PH Lip Balm. However, the color looks good with the look, and if you want all three, by all means go for it. So lastly, I think I'm gonna take the Thunderstone Lip Gloss. Slowly add it on top. You probably can tell, but this has so many different glitter specks. I really love this lip gloss. And this is my whole face done. I really love this makeup. I don't want to take it off at all. Let's talk about what I think of this collection. Okay, so the full collection is $159. That is what I paid for it because I bought the full collection and they don't offer discounts because it's already discounted according to them. Definitely think it's a good value. So this little Pokeball, just for the novelty of it and the fact that it's shaped like a Pokeball, I would have bought it anyway, but the lip balm inside is very nice. Very hydrating, very moisturizing. It's quite thick, so it's not going to disappear instantly. I feel like you could sleep with it and still wake up with some of it on your mouth. Both the formula and the packaging are really nice. These blushes were definitely worth it too. I really like the colors. It's not nudes, it's not light pinks. You have something for everybody in here. Especially this dark purpley shade, which clearly worked for me, so it would probably work for a lot of skin tones. The red is also quite pigmented. The pink is too, even though it's really light. These are colors that I don't have in my collection, which is hard to come up with new shades, so I'm glad that they picked colors based on Pokemon because it made for a nice assortment. I'm not gonna give anything away from this collection simply because it's Pokemon themed, but if it wasn't Pokemon themed, I would not give any of these away, and for a reason. Blended really nicely, and even though I exaggerated on the quantity, it blended out really well. Not patchy at all. I recommend these. PH lip balm wise, I actually don't know where I put the Jigglypuff one. I had it on my desk and now it's gone, so I'm assuming it fell somewhere. I gotta go search for it, but I've done swatches and all three swatched really nice. Like I said, the color for all three is pretty much identical. You would not be able to tell on the lips that it's a different shade. So if any of these Pokemon is your favorite and you don't want to get all three, just get that one because you're not missing out on anything formula wise. But if you want to get all three, you can too. It'll last you longer. These lip glosses, although sheer, they do have different glitter specs, so they're not completely similar. Could you tell on the lips? Just a little bit. I wouldn't say it's enough to run out and buy every different shade, but this one is the least reflective, and this one is the most reflective, so it really all depends on your preference. I did like these though. You can wear them with any lip color underneath, so if you're in need of lip glosses, here's a good option. These little Super Shock shadows, I'm sad that I wasn't able to try them out, but I just don't have any lid space left. However, from the swatches, they do seem really pigmented. And when I did swatches, they were quite hard to take off my arms, so I'm just going to assume that they have longevity power, but I cannot attest to that. I might do a short using one of these just to see how they work. But yeah, if you're a fan of Super Shock shadows, this seems like the same formula. Especially these two. This one is a little less wet, but all three do the job. And lastly, the palette. Honestly, who doesn't have a rainbow palette? Because I have so many. This is nothing new, obviously, it's just repackaged with Pokemon branded themes, but if you're familiar with ColourPop's formula, these all blended really nicely. They were all very pigmented. The purple one took a lot to build though, and you can tell that it's a much drier formula than all the other colors that I've tried. However, it did get there. I can clearly see the purple, so it did build up in the end. No patchiness. All the colors performed really well, and I definitely did enjoy this palette. So if you're in need of a new rainbow palette, there's this one right here. But if you want to get it because you're a Pokemon fan, you're not going to be disappointed by this. I really did enjoy it. This collection made my inner child really happy, and I hope you enjoyed it. Alright you guys, before I go, as usual, if you're not already subscribed, please go subscribe. Also, if you can, please leave a like and a comment because it would really help the algorithm. I really appreciate everything you do. And that was it for today. I hope you stay safe and I'll see you next time. Bye!